And a lot of people became radicalized by things that they were seeing online in a way that they wouldn't have if they were out living their lives, in a way that they wouldn't have if they were human beings are social creatures. If you break us out of that social place and and all you have is like your computer, and the internet is a place full of lies, half truths, and misinformation and disinformation, it is so easy for people to fall down those rabbit holes, and suddenly here we are. And there are people who benefit from it, specifically. And so, I mean, you can just, and I don't even have to name names. You can just think about like who's taken fact checking away from their social media platform. Why would you take fact checking away from a social media platform? Um, it's because like you're good with lies and misinformation and disinformation. Because as a famous character from a TV show once said, chaos is a ladder. And there is a ladder that is being climbed right now while all of us are stuck in the middle and trying to figure it all out.
Mm. Some of the people that you interview in this podcast are journalists.
Hmm.
They're pretty good at asking questions themselves.
Yeah.
Does that make it a more difficult thing for you to prepare for when you're going to be interviewing somebody that does that for a living?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I think that like on a whole, the people that I interview generally tend to be pretty guarded. And so like I just take it like, my job is to I as a journalist, I don't like I think that the image that I have is that people have these walls around their castle. Um and I think a lot of journalists, a lot of my friends, like they take grappling hooks and they go over that wall and they try to get in. I don't do that. Like I'm a mole. Like I again, like this is a theme I think. I like to go under and get through and then surprise and be like, "Oh, we're here." And so like yeah, I mean, journalists can be hard, but I think that, most of the people that I talk to, and especially like, in 2016, I was talking to a lot of people that will not talk to me now, because it's changed. Like in
Mm.
2016, um, if you were, let's say, like for example, oh my goodness, I can't think of his name now. I'm seeing him now. He's got a big tattoo of Richard Nixon on his back.
Oh, Robert Roger
Roger Stone,
Stone.
Roger
We'll
Stone.
get it together.
Yeah. So Roger Stone, like, talk to me. He's not really talking to media outlets that he thinks are liberal these days. Um, and that was, man, Roger Stone was like the hardest interview. That was a hard interview. That was the hardest interview I've ever done because that man will lie like a rug. He has no problem lying to you. Like, and the thing is, like, when he's lying to you as a journalist, I couldn't fact check on the spot. So it's like, and I think that we are seeing this happen in real time now. Is that when the lies come out like a fire hose, you can't discern what is true and what's not true, and it confuses you. I remember at one point in the interview that I felt like I was like I am drowning, like I'm in the ocean and I am drowning, and I never had that experience before. Now I swam to the top and it was a good interview. I didn't let him beat me, but it was woo because he's willing to lie. But in 2016, he was also willing to talk to me, and I think that it's harder to get those. I would love to talk to Republican congressmen and ask them, like, because I think that politics is really about power and people trying to hold on to power at all costs. And I would just like to ask them, how's that working out for you? Because it feels to me like you don't have any power at all. It feels like you're trying to hold on to power by going forward with what your party is saying, and yet you lose power because they're taking it away from you. On the flip side, I'd love to talk to a Democratic congressman and ask them, like, what are you doing? I saw a recent press conference, and it was with a member of Congress, and that member of Congress was basically saying, throwing his hands up, saying, like, "Look, we don't own the House, we don't own the Senate, uh, we don't have anybody in the executive branch. It's their government. What can we do?"
Mhm.
And the only thing I could think of is Mitch McConnell would never have done that. Never. Mitch McConnell would have figured out a way. Mitch McConnell would have taken the Republican Party and been the opposition party every step of the way and done everything he could to disrupt the flow of
And he
business,
did.
and he did.
Yeah.
But the Democrats are just kind of like, hey, it's not. What can I do? And so, like, I want to talk to both of those, and hold them accountable to the American people on both sides of it.
It does seem a moment where a lot of people who oppose some of the policies of the new administration, that they're sort of each looking to one another, being like, well, when are you going to,
Right.
that lawmakers are looking to the public to be like, well, when is your outrage going to reach a point
Right.
that forces us to act or forces the
Right.
other side to react? And, people in the public are sort of waiting for their elected officials to act. And it does seem like there's sort of this moment where everybody's
Yep.
waiting. Um, we have a message from Walter Coker on Instagram. He says, Al Letson is a treasure. Great to hear his motivation, thoughts, and ideas on this country's current predicament. And we got a call from Joe in Riverside. Good morning, Joe. Go ahead.
Hey, Al, I just want to tell you that you are the best. You are my favorite podcaster, and your show Reveal is awesome. And I fell in love with you before I knew you were from Jacksonville, and I was like, wow, he's from Jacksonville. That's great. But anyway, I want to know what you think about how much Fox News has played into how the other side is feeling, especially when they were the only ones.
Well, I think that they're not the only ones, and I think that that's the key there, right? First of all, thank you for the love. I will make sure the check is in the mail. But thank you. I think that again, thinking about context and going back, you have to look at like I've been working with this theory, and this is not going to be popular for a lot of people, but I think things that we are seeing happening today were really set up during the Ronald Reagan administration. And in the Ronald Reagan administration, he passed several things that I think shifted the trajectory of politics in America. And one of those was getting rid of the fairness doctrine. And I think that when you got rid of the fairness doctrine, you get places like Fox, and on the flip side, you get places like MSNBC. And I think that that was absolutely a decision that has really forced us into this place that we're in right now. So that's to me, that's the context. That's the way back machine to look at like what's in right now. But I think yes, there's Fox, and yes, they I think have an oversized part to play in this. But you also have to think about like all the other things that are that seem smaller, but also have large audiences. And what I'm talking about there is like Christian radio. There's a lot of Christian radio that is super, right wing. There's a lot of podcasts that are right wing. There's the whole red pill movement. And so I think that like it's not. I think it was easier to think about. It was like Fox was doing this in, say, the George Bush administration. But I think that media has fractured so much that it's not just them, it's all these other things. And that makes it even a bigger problem because Fox even has standards, and a lot of these other places don't.
All right. I want to take a real quick call from Mo on the South Side. Mo, just very briefly, if you can, we got to wrap.
Hey, thank you very much. I just wanted to find out from Mr. Letson what he felt the difference was, or the pros and cons to fact checking versus community notes, which I think is where Facebook said they're heading.
Yeah, I think community notes is a cop out, and I think fact checking is fact checking. Every story that I do on Reveal like gets fact checked over and over and over again. We have lawyers on staff who make sure we get our facts right, and so community notes is a complete cop out. Tell Mark Zuckerberg I said it.
All right. We're going to leave it there. Al Letson, the host of a brand new podcast called
More to the story.
With Al Letson. It drops Wednesday?
Yeah,
Next Wednesday?
I think.
Yeah. All
I
right.
think so.
All right. Well, we will love to listen to it, Al. So great to have you back. Thanks
So
for
good
being
to
here.
see you. Oh my God, the whole staff. I love you guys. You keep saying I was a former host. I was intern. I was
Yeah.
just keeping it warm for you.
Yeah. No, my friend, you were missed and beloved, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Up next, what does Sally Ride, Taylor Swift, and Venus Williams all have in common? Stick around and find out. It's Girl Scout cookie season, but beyond the annual pull of these delicious cookies, our favorites, Thin Mints, there are some valuable lessons to be learned by young entrepreneurs. And here to tell us about it is Wendy Dordel. She is the CEO of the local Girl Scouts of Gateway Council. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So we mentioned a few names before the break, famous former Girl Scouts, but that list also includes Lucille Ball, Michelle Obama, Laura Bush, Queen Latifah, and Betty Davis. And I'm curious, what is the link there, do you think, with these great women and the correlation?
Well, it's about leadership and empowerment and building a group of individuals that you can really lean back on and understand, but also helping girls see what they can be, who they can be, how they can grow, and what they want to do in their careers. And that's the core of the Girl Scout program, helping girls see what it is they want to achieve and how they get there.
Do you think that's just correlation or causation that all of these famous and accomplished women were Girl Scouts?
I guess I would say that I think it's both. I think it is the outcomes that come from the program, the supportive adults that help lead that, but then also the empowerment of saying you can do what it is you want to achieve and building the resilience within a girl and as she grows into a woman to say, that's okay, it didn't work out. Maybe I'll take a step back and I'll move forward. So those are the core values and the pieces that Girl Scouts develop year over year, and then a group to lean back on, right? If it doesn't work out, who do you go to? Who do you talk to? Who are your mentors? And we build that maybe not your traditional group all the time, your day in and day out friends, but the long term group of individuals. When I encounter women out in the community today, they say to me, I don't always talk to the women who were girls in my troop when I was in the troop, but I remember them fondly. And when I see them or I see other Girl Scouts, we have a connection already established in what it is and who we are and our shared values.
Hmm,
So
that's
all of
interesting.
those building blocks to getting there, I think, are the correlation or the causation, right? So the foundation of the program is the causation. The correlation is building that leadership and that resilience piece that people need in order to get to where they want to go.
So it's cookie season. It's kind of everybody's favorite season.
Mhm.
We who buy the cookies think of them as like, oh, this is great. We get an extra snack. We know that it's a big fundraiser, and it must raise a bundle of money for the Girl Scouts. But the Girl Scouts believes that it has kind of an additional benefit, or perhaps the chief benefit is something else for the girls. Can you talk a little bit about what skill sets it aims to teach them?
Absolutely. So the Girl Scout Cookie Program is the world's largest entrepreneurial program for youth, but specifically for girls. It's $1 billion, as you mentioned, worldwide program and a revenue generator. But most importantly, it's what it builds in girls and the skills, right? Goal setting, financial and math skills, budgeting, teamwork, right, with your troop and those kind of things. And then also the communication and the skills that it takes to make the ask, to work up the confidence to, if you're standing at a booth outside of Publix, ask the parents walking by or ask the adults walking by if they're interested in buying. Making the sale, the actual transaction, right? That's a skill, but also taking the no sometimes is a skill and learning how to
Explain
bounce
that.
back from that. So, while we want everyone to be able to enjoy the cookies and we'd love to have every girl successful 100% of asks, that's just not reality, right? Maybe you already bought your Thin Mints and you don't need another box right now. Maybe next week you need another box, those kind of things, or it's just not the right time for you to buy, or it's just not, you're just not interested, and that's okay. And so learning how to take the soft no is as I don't know if I want to say as important, but it's important in how you build that resiliency and understand that it's not always going to be a yes, but it doesn't mean you can't get to your goal. And so that part of that safe environment to fail is a real basic tenet of Girl Scouts to say, take the risk, it's okay. If it doesn't work out, you'll step back and be able to do it again, right? Ask again because you will be successful.
$1 billion. I feel like the Boy Scouts must be just so bummed they didn't think of this idea. But why is it a seasonal thing as opposed to a year round? It seems like people always love the Girl Scouts. Is there kind of a little mystique that is preserved by making it a seasonal offering?
Well, I think it is helpful that it's only a season, but mainly it's only a season because it's a component of the overall program, right? So we're the the cookie program is a sale in that we do it's a transactional sale in which girls sell the cookies and they learn all of those skills, but it's an ends to a means, right? They're there to earn money and to build those skills so that they can have their other adventures. So it's seasonal so that then we can focus on the outdoors, focus on other skill building, arts badges, um, data science badges, all of the things that girls are interested in. So it's a well-rounded program and opportunity. So that's the seasonality of it. Is it's the best for the program and for the girls. And of course, the output is we look forward to cookie season too.
They buying them from like outside a store, as you mentioned, versus from your coworker's child. Like, where should people be thinking about making that investment if they have to choose?
I think
Because
whatever
that
is
really
most
happened here.
convenient. Absolutely. I heard on the way in that someone enjoyed the new toastiers, and I think what really matters is the end result. Girls make their sales in a lot of different ways. What we encourage for girls is if it is easier for consumers to work through the parents, that girls create letters and a sales pitch or a video in which goes with that pitch. But there are only so many Girl Scouts out there selling cookies, so it really depends on what's best for the consumer. I would also say if you're like me, you probably will buy from multiple ways. And so that's also the best way is whatever works best for the consumer.
Uh,
But always we look for the girl to have a piece of that sale and be really creative in how they communicate, right?
yeah.
And the opportunity today to communicate is a little bit different than even 30 years ago.
Just 5 seconds. Where can they get them if they want to buy cookies other than outside their Publix?
So you can go to girlscouts.org and find the cookie finder to locate a booth in your area.
All right. Wendy Dordel, thanks so much.
On the next Fresh Air, Germany's federal elections are on Sunday, and Elon Musk is supporting the far-right candidate for chancellor. As the Trump administration moves America's foreign policy to the right, European leaders are concerned about the future of their alliance with the U.S. We'll talk with Ann Applebaum, who writes about the new authoritarianism. Join us.
Today at noon on WJCT News 89.9.
Testosterone prescriptions have tripled in recent years, and some influencers claim that for men, the hormone can be miraculous.
No fluff weight, I'm talking quality muscle. My mood is generally solid. I have a lot more focus when I'm doing just about anything. My strength has obviously shot up a ton, even in a...
I'm Deborah Becker. A look at testosterone replacement therapy. That's on the next On Point.
Today at 11, here on WJCT News 89.9.
The National Institutes of Health is the largest funder of biomedical research in the world. It spends more than $30 billion a year towards grants researching cancer, cardiovascular diseases, and more. The Trump administration announced significant cuts to that funding. What does this mean for health and science research in the U.S.? That's next time on 1A.
Today starting at 10 on WJCT News 89.9.
JME Soundstage Series aims to make great music accessible and affordable on the First Coast. Here to preview the 2025 series lineup is Matt Shaw, Arts and Culture Editor for WJCT. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Ann. Are you Team Thin Mint or Team Samoa?
Oh, 100% Thin Mint.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't waste my time with other cookies. Although I will say those French toast whatever, I had never tried them. I guess they're new to this market this year, and it's also their last year ever.
Okay.
And I'm sad because
yeah.
they are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get them while you can.
I don't want to talk cookies, though. We're going to talk in music here. So we've got some really great bands coming to the soundstage here at WJCT, including Shannon and the Clams Being Dead, which is a band that I'm really excited to see. But first up, we've got Rahil.
Rahil, yeah.
Rahil, okay, I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah. So sort of the idea with this series was to try to bring in, internationally touring acts that wouldn't otherwise have visited this market, and pairing them with both regional artists from around Florida and then local artists here from Jacksonville, to try to build an audience around music discovery and new music. And one of the things that's, as I've been doing this work and talking to venues and talent buyers in this area. And then also, like, on the other side of it, the behind the scenes is there's always booking agents working for these artists. And there was really like a lack of awareness for the Jacksonville market. So when booking agents are plotting a tour and trying to break these emerging artists who have like great critically acclaimed records, trying to break them into new markets, they often didn't know much about Jacksonville. That's why you often see some of similar artists. They will have a stop in Atlanta or Orlando.
Tampa.
Yeah, if they and Florida is a challenging market to begin with, because a lot of booking agents want to send their acts to Miami because they know there's a large market there. But once you get into Florida, you're driving 5 hours to Miami, and then you have to get out of Florida, and you're burning days. And there's a saying in touring that if you're not playing, you're paying. Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you don't have a show, you're spending money on a hotel, gas, like all this other stuff too. So really that lack of awareness for this market. And there, it's sort of, we felt like we had a role to play in supporting the other venues, the other independent venues in Jacksonville who are doing this work already. Your Blue Jay Listening Room, your Intuition, your Jackrabbits, who's been doing this for 25 years and has had, I think about like St. Vincent won like 4 Grammys the other night, and like St.
She
Vincent played
performed there, yeah.
to probably 200 people at Jackrabbits years ago. So we just felt like, because we've been doing this work, we've been playing these artists on the radio, on the independent 89.9 HD4, and writing about these artists on jacksmusic.org, that we kind of had our ear to the ground, and we knew that some of these artists, the audience in Jacksonville sort of deserved to have these artists stop here to, promote their new albums
And so
things
when
like
you're
that.
booking and you're kind of luring these bands here, who are you looking to schedule? Like, what are your programming priorities?
So we wanted to be sort of genre agnostic, or be as eclectic as we possibly could. So having artists performing, everything from like Rahil is like an indie pop artist who worked with Beck, and then we have Shannon and the Clams, who does sort of like a retro kind of doo-woppy garage rock thing.
They are so fun
So fun,
to
yeah.
see live.
And so that's, Shannon and the Clams too is like, it's hard to call them like an emerging act because they've been around for
forever.
10, 15 years. But at the same time, they had a big album in 2024, critically acclaimed, and we're probably not looking to play in Jacksonville on this album cycle. So getting them here was huge for us. So,
Yeah, that's a big get. And you pair them with local bands so that these shows give you some truly local content in addition to having these bigger bands.
exactly. And that's it's a big part of our mission to turn the local community onto artists who are making music in their backyard too. And so to have that experience of, maybe you came out to see Rahil on Friday, but you're also going to see, an indie folk artist called Sunchild, and R&B soul artist named Cutie the same night. And so having that sort of connection, we also want artists to know, the artists who are making music here in Jacksonville, to know that there's an audience for their music here, and they don't have to move away to make it.
These are essentially monthly concerts from here until May.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And where can people get information for all the bands?
jacksmusic.org, at jacksmusic.org/events.
All right. Matt Shaw, good luck with the series. Thanks for being here. And I think we're going to hear a little Rahil as we close up our program.
Sweet. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening. Join us tomorrow when we talk with international and foreign policy experts about the practice.
Post Connect is provided by Baptist Health and the North Florida TPO.
Baptist Health is a proud supporter of First Coast Connect. Baptist Health, committed to building a healthier community for all of us. More info at 202-4YOU or baptistjacks.com. The North Florida TPO is dedicated to transportation planning, funding, clean fuels, and new technologies for a vibrant, resilient, and connected region. More information available at northfloridatpo.com.
The Jacksonville Music Experience presents indie pop artist Rahil, performing live on the WJCT soundstage on Friday, February 21st at 7 p.m. Tickets and more information at jacksmusic.org/JME events.
This is WJCT News 89.9 Jacksonville. Up next, national and local news from NPR